Oh, hey, hi. Sorry, didn't see you there. Sorry, that joke never gets old to me. But anyway, in this episode, I'm going to be spraying my Leo Jaymz AL with a white primer coat, as you see here. And I'm using a white primer coat because there's going to be a metallic style red finish going on top of it. And you need a solid base coat when you're using metallic flake colors. Here's the guitar hanging in my spray booth that I made in my garage. And what this is here is a Century stand or a C stand. That's a piece of film equipment, and it's got over 100 uses, and one of them is to hang a guitar so you can paint it. The guitar is just hanging from a piece of baling wire. I later stuck a dowel through the hole there, and it worked good because I could turn the guitar in any direction that I needed, and kind of there's room to walk around it to get it at different angles. So for the paint booth here, I really just used some tarps, painting tarps, and used some spring clips and followed the track lines of the garage and really just used the natural contour of the garage space to create a paint booth. You can see it's like half open. There's some ventilation at the back there. I also just stuck a piece of corrugated, white corrugated cardboard in the back there to stop overspray onto the garage door. But here it is. I put furniture pads on the ground to protect the floor. This paint makes a lot of dust, and just some tarps and clips and some stands, and it worked out really good. Protected everything. So we're ready to paint. The guitar is hanging, and I'm going to lightly scuff it with 400 grit sandpaper to just get it ready to take that clear coat. So just lightly scuffing. Previous step was the grain fill. So you just want to get it nice and smooth, and you're going to want to make sure the surface is completely flat and no little bumps or nicks and bruises. And also this step preps the last coat to accept the primer coat. So I'm going to grab a shop rag here and mineral spirits, $10 for this jar of mineral spirits, and I'm going to wipe the guitar completely with the mineral spirits to get any of the sandpaper dust off, all the wood dust from the previous step, and it's going to clean fingerprints and oils, and it did a perfect job, this whole process of just cleaning the oils from your fingers or dirt, smudges, dust, wood dust, sandpaper dust, and you want to do that. I did that a lot during this process. I constantly kept everything clean on the guitar with mineral spirits, and then you're going to want to let it dry completely, obviously, before you spray wet paint on it. So I think they say at least 20 minutes or more, but I always err on the side of caution with these things. So make sure it's dry completely. And here, it's ready. Temperature is around 50 degrees. It seemed to be a good temperature to accept the paint. I never had any issues with paint adhering in these conditions. I think it was spring when I did this. Wear your respirator, rubber gloves if you wish. And here we go. Right before you paint, I'm using a tack cloth just to make sure there's no little hairs or debris on there. You want to tap it, don't smear it. So I'm just kind of lightly tapping the surface just to make sure that it's as clean as can be. You need to be extremely meticulous with dust and hair and just anything floating in the air. So tap it with the tack cloth. It's like beeswax, so you don't want to wipe it. There we go, Oxford Supply nitrocellulose lacquer white primer. This stuff covered amazing. I probably used a can, maybe a can and a half. I think because I was doing the entire neck too. And you're just painting at this point. Even strokes, The first coat doesn't cover great, but you're slowly building your base, right? So it's okay that you're not going to get great coverage on the first coat. Don't glop it on. It's going to drip and run. You want to avoid that. If it does drip and run, just go back to your 400 sandpaper. You can sand it down and then just paint over it. But, just follow the directions on the can and you're fine. If you got any experience spray painting, you'll be fine with this. So even covered strokes, do the whole length of the section you're doing, the whole width of what you're doing, overspray. I'll usually try and I'll press the spray nozzle outside of the guitar area and move it across. So I started with the back just to practice, and it looks great. So now I'm moving to the front of the guitar, and again, kind of start off of the area that you're painting and move onto it. See how I'm overspraying here back and forth. It's going to look glossy and wet when it goes on, obviously, but it dries pretty quickly. It's really easy to work with. The overall coverage on this primer was amazing. The guitar looked amazing in white, as you'll see later. Just take your time in this process. It was a whole lot of fun. Make sure to get complete coverage. And again, you're going to do 3 coats a day with a minimum 1 hour dry time in between. See right there, I had a smudge, I had a drip. Don't wipe it with your finger like I did. The best thing to do is let it dry, sand it off, and just paint over it, and you'll be fine. Hit it real good once, let it dry for at least an hour, and then I'm going to come back and do a second coat, let it dry, and then do a third coat, let it dry overnight, and then I'll come back the second day and did that process again. I believe I put about 6 coats of primer on here to get complete coverage. And you can just kind of see what the paint booth looks like here from different angles. The paint gets everywhere. The VOCs or whatever, the particles get all over the place. There was white dust everywhere. I had a lot of cleanup to do when I was done, so it is going to make a little bit of a mess in the paint booth, but anything you don't want ruined or covered in white dust, cover it. I used furniture pads, I used tarps, cardboard for overspray. So here at day 2, back into the booth. This is what it looked like. This is 3 coats primer. It's nice and smooth. It's so awesome. It dries so smooth. It's so cool. This was 3 coats of primer, and now day 2, it dried overnight. I think I'm gonna do 3 more coats of primer here, and that'll cover it. But it came out great. This paint is this nitrocellulose lacquer from Oxford. I did an amazing job, I think, and I've never done this before. That little wire rig there allowed me to twist the guitar in different directions as I needed to get it from different angles, but eventually I stuck a dowel through that hole because the wire was too close to the paint and wasn't working out right, so I did adapt that later on. So it looks like we had a nice 60-degree fall day here for day 2. Perfect conditions, low humidity, perfect conditions to paint some lacquer. Don't forget your respirator. Let's go. This paint stinks. You do not want to inhale this paint. Hit it with the tack cloth. All right, I was just kind of touching it and feeling it. So again, I used rubber gloves whenever I could and tap it with the tack cloth to get rid of any kind of dust or hair or particles floating around as best you can. All that's going to show up. And again, using a kind of tapping motion, you're just kind of like picking the lint up off of it. Don't smear it. And you're going to hit that all over. Keep your tack cloth clean. I kept mine in a plastic bag because you obviously don't want it picking up extra dirt and stuff, so you want to keep that baby clean. And that lasted me the whole project. I think I did 2 projects with that tack cloth. All right, here we go, and the rest is just more of the same. Clean out the nozzle, start off and move on to the wood, and you're just going to paint away, overlapping strokes. There's a lot of different formal demonstrations and techniques out there about how to apply this paint, but I didn't have any problems. Obviously, you want to get it even as possible so that the next coat goes on even, and you don't want any kind of like variations in the paint rising, like dips or valleys, or if there's buildup somewhere, all that's going to show. You want everything level as possible. With a fresh piece of wood like this here. Alright, so this is coat number 6. I'm going to finish up, and I think it looks amazing. I'm going to let that dry overnight, and in the morning, let's see what we got. So here we go. This is the completed primer. It looks amazing. This white primer came out great. When it dries, it's super smooth to the touch. There's no blemishes. Covers up all the imperfections in the wood. The guitar actually looks really cool in white too. I almost didn't want to paint it. I was originally going to paint this guitar white like a Randy Rhoads model, but I decided to try and make something, completely different and unique. So this section here where the neck pocket is, the primer really showed some imperfections there that I didn't realize at first. So that's one thing. The primer coat is going to show you all the imperfections. So I did go back with some wood filler, and I filled in those creases, and I tried to just smooth out the cutout there, and that helped a little bit. So I packed it with wood filler, sanded it, and then I had to touch it up with the primer coat again. But otherwise, all in all, really happy with the way it looks now. You got to be very careful with the wood. Any kind of dents or gouges, even if it's small, the paint is going to pick that up. And I guess that's what's good about this primer coat is you can see all of those imperfections. So I had to go back and touch some things up even after this point. So excited to play this thing. So that's it. Primer coat is complete. And the next step is to sand the primer coat again with 400. And we're going to lay some paint down. Thanks for watching. Keep on rocking. Oh yeah.